My brother posted a photo of me and my 8-year-old with the caption, "When mistakes raise mistakes," and the whole family jumped in, mocking us, liking every cruel comment. But my wife didn't join. She posted this, and within minutes, everything. The notification lit up my phone at 9:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was reading Owen a bedtime story, doing the voices he loved, when the buzz interrupted us. My son's eyes were already heavy, his small hand clutching his favorite stuffed elephant. I ignored the phone and kept reading until his breathing evened out and his grip loosened. Walking back to the living room, I picked up my phone. 37 notifications from Facebook. My stomach dropped before I even opened the app. There it was. A photo from last weekend's park outing. Owen and me on the swings, both mid-laugh, caught in a moment of pure joy. My brother Derek had posted it to the family group with a caption that made my blood turn cold. "When mistakes raise mistakes," smiley face emoji. The comments had already started piling up. Aunt Patricia, "Well, at least the apple didn't fall far from the tree." Uncle Ron, "Some people never learn, do they?" My cousin Jennifer had added 3 crying laughing emojis. Derek's wife Amanda chimed in with, "This is the funniest thing I've seen all week." 43 likes. 43 members of my extended family thought this was hilarious. My hands shook as I scrolled through the cruelty. These were people who came to Christmas dinner every year, who sent birthday cards, who claimed family meant everything. Every single one of them knew my history. They knew I'd gotten my high school girlfriend pregnant at 17. They knew I'd spent years rebuilding my life after that relationship fell apart. They knew Owen's mother had left when he was 2, overwhelmed by motherhood and unwilling to stay. But none of that justified this. Nothing did. I sat there on the couch, reading comment after comment, each one twisting the knife deeper. My mother had liked the post. My father too. Even cousins I barely spoke to had joined the pile on, treating my son like a punchline. Owen wasn't a mistake. He was the best thing that ever happened to me. The front door opened. My wife Rachel walked in, still in her scrubs from her nursing shift. She took one look at my face and immediately sat beside me. "What happened?" I handed her my phone without speaking. I watched her eyes scan the screen, watched her expression shift from confusion to disbelief to something I'd never quite seen before. Cold fury. "They posted this publicly?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. Family group. 300 members. Rachel scrolled through the comments, her jaw tightening with each swipe. When she reached the end, she set the phone down carefully, as if afraid she might crush it otherwise. "I need to make a call," she said. "Rachel, it's almost 10 at night." She was already dialing, walking into our bedroom and closing the door. I heard her voice through the wall, steady and purposeful, but couldn't make out words. 20 minutes passed before she emerged. "I need you to trust me," she said. "Don't respond to anything they post. Don't defend yourself. Don't engage at all. They're attacking our son." "I know. And they're going to regret it." She kissed my forehead. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be interesting." I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those comments, felt the betrayal all over again. These people had held Owen as a baby. They'd given him presents and told me I was doing a good job as a single dad. They'd welcomed Rachel into the family when we got married 2 years ago, praised me for finding someone who loved my son like her own. All of it had been performance. Surface-level acceptance hiding deep-seated judgment. By morning, the post had accumulated 78 likes and 52 comments. Derek had added another comment overnight. "Mom and Dad always said you'd never amount to anything." Guess they were right. That one hurt worse than all the others combined. Because it confirmed something I'd always suspected but never wanted to believe. My parents discussed me like this in private, shared their disappointments about me with my brother, turned my struggles into family gossip. Rachel was already up, dressed in jeans and a blazer instead of her usual casual clothes for a day off. She looked professional, almost businesslike. "I'm going out for a few hours," she said. "Make sure Owen has a good breakfast. Take him to the park. Live your life exactly like you normally would." "What are you planning?" "Accountability." She grabbed her purse and car keys. "Remember, don't engage with any of it online." She left before I could ask more questions. Owen woke up cheerful, oblivious to the digital character assassination happening in our family's corner of the internet. I made him pancakes shaped like dinosaurs, his current obsession, and listened to him explain the difference between a brachiosaurus and a diplodocus for the 100th time. His enthusiasm never wavered. He was 8 years old, brilliant and kind, and the thought of him ever seeing what his own family had written about him made me sick. We went to the park, the same one from the photo. Owen ran straight for the swings while I settled onto a bench, my phone burning a hole in my pocket. I forced myself not to check it. 2 hours later, as Owen conquered the climbing structure for the 5th time, my phone buzzed. Not a Facebook notification this time, a text from my mother. "We need to talk. Call me immediately." Then my father, "What the heck is Rachel doing?" Derek, tell your wife to take it down now. Aunt Patricia, this is completely inappropriate and vindictive. Uncle Ron, you two have crossed a serious line. My phone didn't stop buzzing. Dozens of messages flooded in, all demanding, all angry, all suddenly very concerned about appropriate behavior. I opened Facebook. Rachel had posted in the family group at 11:03 a.m. The post was long, formatted perfectly, with screenshots attached. Yesterday, many of you participated in publicly mocking my husband and stepson. You called them mistakes. You laughed at a child. You demonstrated that your acceptance of this family was conditional and performative. I want to address this thoughtfully, so let me share some context many of you may not know. First, let's discuss Derek, who initiated this cruelty. Derek, who lectures about responsibility and making good choices. 3 years ago, Derek's company was facing bankruptcy due to his financial mismanagement. Marcus loaned him $47,000, our entire savings at the time, to keep his business afloat. We went into debt to help you. You told us you'd pay us back within 2 years. We're still waiting. When we gently asked about repayment last month, you told Marcus to stop being desperate about money. Screenshot, text messages between me and Derek discussing the loan. Second, let's talk about Patricia, who believes apples don't fall far from trees. Patricia, whose son is currently serving time for embezzlement. When he was arrested, who did you call crying at 3 a.m? Marcus. Who spent 6 hours researching lawyers and making calls on your behalf. Marcus. Who visited your son in county jail every week for 2 months until he was transferred, because you couldn't bring yourself to see him that way. Marcus. Screenshot, visitor logs showing my signature. Third, Ron, who wonders if people ever learn. Ron, whose gambling addiction nearly cost him his marriage 5 years ago. When Linda threw you out and you needed a place to stay, who took you in for 3 months. Who drove you to your Gamblers Anonymous meetings twice a week. Who never told anyone in the family why you were really staying with us, protecting your privacy and dignity. Marcus did all of that. Screenshot, GA meeting schedule with check marks in my handwriting. Fourth, Amanda, who found this hilarious. Amanda, whose wedding Marcus paid for when your parents refused to contribute because they disapproved of Derek. $12,000 for the venue, catering, and photography you wanted. You promised to acknowledge this in your wedding speech. You never mentioned it. You've never even said, thank you. Screenshot, bank transfer receipt. I could continue. I have documentation of every time Marcus has shown up for this family. Every loan, every favor, every middle of the night rescue. Every secret he's kept, every shoulder he's offered, every way he's sacrificed for people who clearly never valued him. But let's address the real issue, Owen. You called an 8-year-old child a mistake. You mocked his existence for entertainment. This child who writes thank you notes after every birthday gift, who asks about your health when he sees you, who drew pictures for half of you last Christmas because he wanted everyone to have something special from him. Marcus became a father at 17. Instead of running, he stepped up. He finished high school while working 2 jobs. He put himself through community college with a toddler at home. He built a career, bought a house, and raised a remarkable child entirely on his own for 6 years before I had the privilege of joining this family. You don't get to call that a mistake. You don't get to laugh at his sacrifice. You don't get to diminish everything he's accomplished because it doesn't fit your narrow definition of the right way to live a life. Here's what happens now. Marcus and Owen are done attending family functions where they're secretly viewed as disappointments. We won't subject our son to people who smile to his face while mocking him online. You've shown us exactly how you feel, and we're simply choosing to believe you. To those of you who participated in yesterday's cruelty, don't contact us unless you're prepared to offer a genuine apology. Not an I'm sorry you were offended non-apology, not an excuse about it being just a joke. A real acknowledgement of the harm you caused. To those of you who stayed silent while this happened, your silence was noted. You watched a child being mocked by adults and said nothing. That's also a choice you made. This family has spent years taking Marcus for granted. That ends today. Below her post were dozens of screenshots. Bank transfers. Text message conversations. Photos with timestamps. She documented everything, organized it methodically, presented it like evidence in a trial. The family group had gone completely silent. No comments. No likes. Just Rachel's post sitting there like a bomb in the middle of their casual cruelty. Then the private messages started flooding my phone. Suddenly, everyone had explanations. It was just a joke. They didn't mean it that way. I was being too sensitive. Rachel was being dramatic. Not one apology. My phone rang. Derek's name appeared on the screen. I answered. You need to get Rachel to delete that post right now, he said, no greeting. She's airing private family business. You posted a photo calling my son a mistake. That's not private. It was a joke, Marcus. Everyone knows you're sensitive about this stuff, but come on. We didn't think you'd lose your mind over it. You called my son a mistake in front of 300 people. Our family. Not strangers. There's a difference. The difference is 300 people who are supposed to love him saw you mock his existence and decided to join in. That's worse, Derek. That's so much worse. Look, I'll delete the post, okay? Just get Rachel to take hers down. The loan stuff, the wedding money, that's embarrassing. People don't need to know that. But they need to know you think Owen is a mistake? That's not what I meant. What did you mean? Silence on the other end. Exactly, I said. You meant exactly what you wrote. You've always looked down on me. You've always thought you were better because you waited until 30 to have kids, because you went to a 4-year college, because your life followed the approved timeline. And you know what's funny? I've spent years helping you, lending you money I couldn't afford to lose, keeping your secrets, supporting you through your screw-ups. All while you secretly thought I was a failure. Marcus, I don't think you're a failure. Don't lie to me anymore. I'm done. Pay back what you owe, and then we're finished. I hung up. My hands were shaking again, but this time from adrenaline, not hurt. Rachel came home around noon, carrying takeout from Owen's favorite burger place. She looked tired but satisfied. How bad is it? She asked. Depends on your definition. The family group is in chaos. I'm getting messages every 30 seconds. Derek wants you to take it down. I'm sure he does. She unpacked the food. Is Owen okay? He's in his room building with Legos. He has no idea any of this is happening. Good. That's exactly how it should stay. We ate lunch mostly in silence, both of us processing the morning's detonation. Owen joined us, chattering about the Lego spaceship he was building, blissfully unaware that his existence had become the catalyst for a family civil war. After lunch, while Owen was absorbed in his building project, I asked Rachel the question that had been nagging at me all morning. How did you document everything? Some of those screenshots go back years. She smiled, a little sheepish. I've been keeping records since we got engaged. Not because I expected this specifically, but because I saw how your family treated you. Little dismissive comments. Subtle put-downs. I noticed they asked you for help constantly but never seemed to remember your birthday. I watched them take and never give back. So I started documenting. Saving texts. Keeping receipts. Taking photos of visitor logs. Just in case. Just in case what? Just in case they ever pushed too far and you needed proof that you weren't imagining it. That you weren't being sensitive or holding grudges. That there was a real, quantifiable pattern of them using you while disrespecting you. She took my hand. I'm a nurse. I document everything. It's habit. And I had a feeling it might matter someday. You've been planning this for 2 years? Not planning. Preparing. There's a difference. I hoped I'd never need it. But when I saw that post last night, when I saw them attacking our son, I knew the time had come. Her expression hardened. They needed to face consequences. Real ones. Not a guilt trip or a hurt feelings conversation. They needed to see exactly who they'd been to you, laid out with evidence they couldn't deny. My phone buzzed again. My mother this time, calling instead of texting. I declined it. You don't have to talk to any of them, Rachel said. Not until you're ready. Maybe not ever. My mom's going to be furious. Your mom liked a post calling her grandson a mistake. I'm not particularly concerned about her feelings right now. The doorbell rang. We exchanged glances. Through the front window, I could see my father's truck in the driveway. Do you want me to handle this? Rachel asked. No. I need to. I opened the door. My father stood there, looking older than I remembered. Tired. Uncomfortable. Can I come in? Is Mom with you? No. She wanted to come, but I told her I needed to do this alone. He glanced past me into the house. Can we talk? I stepped outside instead, pulling the door closed behind me. We stood on the porch, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across the lawn. Your wife's post caused quite a stir, he began. That was the point. He sighed heavily. Marcus, I'm not going to pretend Derek's post was appropriate. It wasn't. But airing all that private information, the loans and the help you've given people, that's not how families handle things. How do families handle things, Dad? Because from where I'm standing, this family handles things by mocking an 8-year-old on social media while maintaining a polite fiction in person. Is that the proper way? We've never mocked Owen. You liked the post. Mom liked it too. Aunt Patricia, Uncle Ron, Jennifer, Amanda, 43 people liked it, Dad. 52 people commented, most of them piling on. Where were you? Where was the comment saying, hey, that's my grandson you're talking about, this isn't funny? Where was Mom defending her grandchild? He couldn't meet my eyes. It happened fast. By the time I saw it, it happened over several hours. Rachel and I could see the timestamps. You liked it within 15 minutes of Derek posting it. You had plenty of time to think about what you were endorsing. I didn't think about it like that. That's the problem. You didn't think about Owen seeing it someday. About him knowing his own grandfather approved of people calling him a mistake. You didn't think about what that would do to him, to his sense of self-worth, to his understanding of his place in this family. My father looked pained. We love Owen. You know that. Do I? Because love isn't just feeling affection when it's convenient. Love is defending someone when they're not in the room. Love is refusing to participate in cruelty, even casual cruelty, even when it seems harmless. You failed that test. So what, you're cutting us all off? Your entire family? I'm protecting my son from people who think he's a joke. If that includes cutting off my family, then yes. That's extreme. What's extreme is 43 people thinking it's hilarious to mock a child. What's extreme is no one, not one single person, commenting to say, this isn't okay. Everyone either joined in or stayed silent. There's no middle ground I can work with there. My father ran a hand through his thinning hair, a gesture I recognized from childhood. He did it when he was frustrated, when he didn't know how to fix something. Your mother and I raised you better than this, he said finally. We taught you about forgiveness. About family loyalty. You taught me those things, then demonstrated that they only apply when it's convenient for you. You want me to forgive Derek's post, but Derek never apologized for it. He called me to demand Rachel take her post down, not to say he was sorry. You're here asking me to smooth things over, not to acknowledge what you and Mom did wrong. Where's the accountability? Where's the loyalty to me and my son? We made a mistake. Owen's not a mistake. And neither is expecting basic human decency from my family. He stood there for a long moment, staring at his shoes. When he looked up, there were tears in his eyes. I've failed you, he said quietly. Not just yesterday. For years. Your mother and I, we talk about you like you're still 17 and lost. We never updated our view of you. We never acknowledged how hard you've worked, how well you've done. We compare you to Derek constantly, always finding you lacking, even though you've accomplished just as much with far fewer advantages. We've been terrible parents to you, and I didn't even realize it until I read Rachel's post this morning. I wasn't expecting that. The honesty of it caught me off guard. I don't have an excuse, he continued. I can't blame it on being thoughtless or moving too fast. The truth is, your mother and I have held onto our disappointment from when you were 17, and we never let it go. We never gave you credit for everything you've done since. We've been punishing you for an old mistake for 18 years, and that's unforgivable. So what do you want from me right now? Nothing. I don't deserve anything from you. I came here to tell you you're right. About all of it. Your wife's post was uncomfortable to read, but everything in it was true. We've taken you for granted. We've used you. We've looked down on you while benefiting from your generosity. And worst of all, we let our grandson be ridiculed without saying a word. He wiped his eyes. I'm ashamed. Your mother should be too, but she's not there yet. She's angry at Rachel for exposing things. She's not ready to face what we did. When she is, she knows where to find me. He nodded. I'll work on her. And Marcus? I am genuinely sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, or maybe ever. But I need you to know I see it now. I see you. What you've built, who you are as a father, the life you've made. I'm sorry it took something this painful for me to finally pay attention. He turned to leave, then paused. Owen's lucky to have you. He's lucky to have Rachel too. You picked a good one. I know. He walked back to his truck, and I watched him drive away. My hands were shaking again, but this time I couldn't identify the emotion causing it. Relief, maybe. Or grief for the relationship I'd wanted with my father but never quite had. Rachel opened the door. I was listening through the window. Is that okay? Yeah. That's okay. Your dad surprised me. He surprised me too. We went back inside. Owen was still building, now working on a second spaceship to keep the first one company. His world remained intact, untouched by adult failures and complicated histories. Over the next week, the family group chat transformed into a war zone. Some members defended Derek's original post, insisting everyone was overreacting. Others argued that Rachel's response was disproportionate. A few, a very few, posted tentative apologies. My cousin Sarah, who I'd never been particularly close to, sent a long private message. I didn't comment on Derek's post, but I didn't defend you either, and I'm sorry. I told myself it wasn't my business, but silence is a choice. I'm choosing differently now. What happened to you and Owen was wrong, and I should have said so immediately. That meant something. Not enough to rebuild a relationship on, but something. Derek sent a Venmo payment for the full $47,000. No message, no apology attached. Just the money. I accepted it and put it straight into Owen's college fund. My mother never called. Aunt Patricia sent a 3-paragraph message explaining why she'd liked the post, how she didn't realize it was hurtful, how I was being unfair to expect her to have known better. I deleted it without responding. Uncle Ron surprised me by showing up at my house 2 weeks after the incident. He didn't ask to come in. He stood on the porch, hands in his pockets, and said, "I was wrong. Not just about the post, but about how I've treated you since you became a dad. I've always thought of you as the family screw-up, and that was easier than admitting my own problems. You saved my marriage by keeping my secret and helping me get sober from gambling. You never judged me, never used it against me, never told anyone. And I repaid that by mocking your kid online. I'm disgusted with myself." "Okay," I said, unsure what else to say. "I don't expect forgiveness. I wanted you to know I'm working on being better. And if you ever decide to come back to family things, I'll defend you and Owen. I'll make sure nobody pulls this again. That's a promise. I appreciate that, Ron." He left, and I felt something shift. Not forgiveness exactly, but a crack in the wall of hurt. Rachel continued working her shifts, continued being an incredible stepmother to Owen, continued handling the fallout with calm precision. She never said, "I told you so." She never gloated about being right. She just supported me through the grief of losing my family, even the parts that had been toxic. A month after the incident, Owen came home from school with a project. They were making family trees in his class, and he needed to fill in names and relationships. "Do I put Grandpa and Grandma on here?" he asked. "We haven't seen them in a while." Rachel and I exchanged looks. "That's up to you, buddy," I said carefully. "They're still your grandparents. But we're taking a break from some family stuff right now." "Because they were mean?" My heart stopped. "Did someone tell you about that?" "No. But you get quiet when your phone buzzes now, and you don't want to talk about family dinners anymore. Rachel looks sad sometimes when your mom's name comes up. I'm not a baby, Dad. I can tell when something's wrong. 8 years old and already more emotionally intelligent than most adults in my family. Some people in our family said some unkind things," Rachel said gently. "Not about you directly, they didn't know you'd ever hear about it. But it was still wrong, and it hurt your dad's feelings. So we're taking space to figure out what we want our family relationships to look like going forward." "Were they saying I shouldn't have been born?" The directness of it winded me. "What makes you think that?" "Kids at school say their parents call them mistakes sometimes when they're mad." I wondered if that's what happened. I knelt down to his eye level. "Listen to me very carefully. You are not a mistake. You have never been a mistake. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. Yes, I was young when you were born. Yes, it was hard sometimes. But not one single second of my life with you has been a mistake. You understand?" "Then why did they say mean things?" "Because grown-ups sometimes carry around old ideas that don't make sense anymore. They get stuck in one way of thinking and forget to update their views when things change. It's not about you. It's about them not being able to see clearly." Owen considered this, his face serious. "Are we going to see them again?" "Maybe. When they're ready to treat us with respect. When they're ready to apologize and mean it. But not before then." "Okay." He went back to his family tree, carefully writing our names. He included my parents, but he put a small question mark next to their names. When I asked about it later, he said, "Because I'm not sure if they want to be on my tree. So it's a question until they decide." 8 years old. Breaking my heart and making me proud simultaneously. Update 1, 3 months later. The family group chat had split into factions. Some members left entirely, creating a smaller group without me, Rachel, and Owen. Others stayed and tried to play peacemaker, posting inspirational quotes about forgiveness and family bonds. A few sent friend requests on other social media platforms, trying to circumvent the boundaries we'd set. I ignored most of it. Rachel monitored it more closely, documenting anything that crossed into harassment territory. We'd agreed on clear criteria: genuine apologies would be considered. Defensive explanations would be ignored. Attempts to guilt trip us would result in blocking. My father became a regular visitor. He came by every other Sunday, always calling first, never assuming he was welcome. He brought Owen small gifts, books about dinosaurs, building kits, once a telescope for stargazing. He didn't try to force emotional conversations with me. He just showed up, consistently, proving through action that he was trying. My mother remained absent. According to my father, she was still angry. She felt betrayed by Rachel's post, humiliated by having her behavior documented publicly. She wasn't ready to acknowledge any wrongdoing. "She'll come around eventually," my father said during one visit. "Or she won't. Either way, I'm not letting her stubbornness cost me my relationship with you and Owen." That surprised me. My parents had been united their entire marriage, always presenting a single front. This fracture between them was new. "Are you two okay?" I asked. "Honestly? We're in counseling. This whole situation made me realize we've had some fundamental disagreements about you for years, and I always deferred to your mother. I'm not doing that anymore. The counselor is helping us work through it, but it's rough. I didn't know how to feel about being the catalyst for my parents' marriage problems. Guilty and relieved in equal measure. Derek maintained his distance. The loan repayment was his final communication. I heard through family gossip that his business was struggling again, that he'd had to lay off employees, that his marriage was strained. I felt no satisfaction in his difficulties. I just felt tired. Amanda, his wife, sent me a Facebook message 5 months after the incident. I know I don't deserve a response, but I need to say this. I've been going to therapy since everything happened. My therapist helped me see how cruel I've been. Not just in that post, but in general. I've spent years being casually mean to people, treating kindness like weakness, laughing at others' struggles. I thought it made me seem clever or superior. Really, it just made me a person I'm ashamed of. You paid for my wedding when my own parents wouldn't. You gave me one of the most important days of my life, and I never even thanked you. Then I mocked your child for internet points. I'm sorry. I'm genuinely, deeply sorry. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know I'm working on being better. I showed Rachel the message. She read it twice. What do you think? I asked. I think she sounds sincere. I think therapy probably is helping her see herself more clearly. But sincerity doesn't erase harm. You don't owe her forgiveness just because she apologized well. What would you do? I'd acknowledge the apology, thank her for doing the work, and leave the door open without making any promises. Something like, I appreciate you taking responsibility and working on yourself. I'm not ready to rebuild a relationship right now, but I respect the effort you're making. I sent a version of that response. Amanda replied with a simple, thank you. That's more than fair. Owen's school had a grandparents' day in November. He asked if Grandpa could come. My father's face lit up when I called to invite him. What about your mother? He asked. Is she ready to apologize? No. Then no. This is for people who respect Owen. If she changes her mind, there's always next year. Grandparents' Day was harder than I expected. I watched Owen show my father his classroom, his artwork on the walls, his science project about the solar system. My father looked genuinely interested, asking questions, praising Owen's work. And I saw what could have been. If my parents had chosen differently, if they decided years ago to stop judging and start supporting, we could have had this all along. After the event, my father pulled me aside. Thank you for letting me come. It meant everything. You're here because you earned it, I said. You apologized, you're showing up, you're treating Owen with love and respect. That's all I ever wanted. Your mother asked how it went. I told her it was wonderful, that she missed out on something special. She cried. Is she ready to talk to me? She's getting there. She's angry at herself now instead of angry at Rachel. That's progress, I think. Update 2, 8 months later. Christmas approached with complicated logistics. My father wanted to know if we'd come to the family gathering. Rachel and I discussed it extensively. What does Owen want? She asked. He says he misses some of his cousins. He understands why we haven't been going, but he's 8. He wants normal family holidays. So we compromise. We host our own Christmas. We invite the people who've genuinely apologized and changed their behavior. Small group. Controlled environment. Owen gets family time, and we maintain our boundaries. We sent invitations to my father, Uncle Ron, Cousin Sarah, and Amanda. 4 people out of an extended family of dozens. The guest list itself made a statement. Everyone accepted. My father asked if he could bring my mother. Has she apologized? I asked. She wants to. In person. She's written you a letter, but she wants to say it face to face. Tell her she can come, but the apology happens before she interacts with Owen. She doesn't get access to him until I'm satisfied she understands what she did wrong. Christmas Eve arrived. My mother showed up an hour early, alone. She looked smaller than I remembered, diminished somehow. Can we talk? She asked. We sat in the living room while Rachel took Owen to his bedroom for some pre-Christmas present wrapping. My mother held an envelope, turning it over and over in her hands. I've rewritten this letter 14 times, she said. Every version sounds like I'm making excuses or trying to justify what happened. So I'm just going to say it plainly. I was wrong. About the post, about liking it, about how I've treated you for 18 years. I've held on to my disappointment about your teenage pregnancy like it was yesterday instead of nearly 2 decades ago. I've let that old hurt color every interaction we've had since. I've compared you to Derek constantly, never acknowledging that you've built a beautiful life against much harder odds. I've taken your help for granted while treating you like you were still a screw-up kid who needed parenting. And I let my grandson be mocked without defending him. She finally looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. I don't have a good reason for any of it except that I got stuck. I couldn't let go of my vision of how your life was supposed to look, so I couldn't see how good it actually turned out. You're an incredible father. Owen is a wonderful child. Rachel is a blessing. And I've missed out on all of it because I was too proud and too stubborn to admit I was wrong. The envelope shook in her hands. This letter is longer, with more details, but that's the core of it. I'm sorry. I'm deeply, genuinely sorry. I understand if you don't want me in your life anymore. I understand if the damage is too severe. But I needed to say this to your face, to take responsibility without hiding behind a text message or a phone call. I took the letter from her. Her handwriting covered 4 pages, neat and careful. I need time to read this, I said. And I need to see consistent change, not just words. But I appreciate you coming here and saying this. Can I stay for Christmas? I want to meet Owen again properly, as the grandmother I should have been from the start. You can stay. But I'm watching. If you slip back into old patterns, if you make even one disparaging comment, this is over. Do you understand? Yes. We called Owen down. He approached my mother cautiously, this woman he barely knew anymore. Hi, Grandma. My mother dropped to her knees to be at his eye level, fresh tears starting. Hi, sweetheart. I'm so sorry I haven't been around. I made some big mistakes, and I'm going to work very hard to do better. Is it okay if I spend Christmas with you? Owen looked at me for confirmation. I nodded. Okay, he said. Do you want to see my room? I have a new Lego spaceship. I would love that. I watched them walk down the hallway together, Owen chattering about his latest building project, my mother listening with full attention. It wasn't forgiveness yet. It wasn't reconciliation. But it was a beginning. The rest of the evening unfolded gently. Uncle Ron brought gifts for Owen and apologies to Rachel. Sarah helped cook dinner, telling stories that made Owen laugh. Amanda arrived with her husband Derek, who stood awkwardly in the doorway until I invited him in. I know I'm probably not welcome, Derek said. But Amanda's been working so hard on herself, going to therapy, really changing. I wanted to support her. And I wanted to apologize too. Not a written apology or a money transfer. A real one. Go ahead. I've been jealous of you my entire life, he said. You have this way of connecting with people, of making them feel important. Everyone always wanted your approval, your attention. I was the older brother. I was supposed to be the one people looked up to. But you were always more likable, more genuine. Even when you got pregnant at 17, even when everyone was supposed to be disappointed in you, people still loved you more. And I resented the hell out of it. He looked miserable, hands shoved deep in his pockets. That post was my resentment finally exploding. I just laid off 3 employees because my business was failing again, meanwhile you're thriving with your job and your family and your life. I wanted to hurt you. I wanted to take you down a peg, prove you weren't as perfect as everyone seemed to think. So I attacked the thing you love most, your son. It was calculated cruelty, and I'm ashamed of it. You paid back the loan, I said. That was the minimum. The bare minimum. I owed you so much more than money. I owed you respect, gratitude, acknowledgement. I'm sorry, Marcus. For the post, for the years of subtle put-downs, for treating your generosity like something I deserved instead of something I should have treasured. We stood there in waited silence. I don't know if we'll ever be close, I finally said. Too much has happened. But I appreciate you saying this. And I'm glad you came tonight. Dinner was surprisingly comfortable. Owen thrived with the attention, showing everyone his current dinosaur knowledge, explaining the plot of his favorite books, demonstrating his latest Lego creation. My mother kept tearing up, overwhelmed by how much she'd missed. After Owen went to bed, the adults sat around the living room. Rachel poured wine for everyone except Uncle Ron, who she quietly offered sparkling cider instead. Small thoughtful gestures that made people feel seen. I have a question, Sarah said. Why did you stay so generous? After years of them treating you badly, why did you keep helping? I thought about it. I kept hoping that if I proved myself enough, if I was helpful enough and kind enough and successful enough, they'd finally see me differently. I kept thinking the next loan, the next favor, the next crisis I helped with would be the one that changed their minds. But it never worked because the problem wasn't my behavior. It was their perspective. So what changed? Amanda asked. Owen. Derek's post attacked my son. That was the line. I could handle them disrespecting me, but not him. Rachel saw that and knew it was time to stop protecting them from consequences. Rachel raised her glass. To boundaries. And to partners who document everything just in case. Everyone laughed, the tension breaking. My father left around 11, hugging me tightly before he went. Thank you for giving your mother a chance. She's going to work hard to earn back your trust. I hope so. My mother was the last to leave. She hugged Owen goodnight, telling him she'd see him soon if that was okay. At the door, she turned back to me. I meant everything I said. I'm going to prove it through my actions. You won't regret this. Time will tell. After everyone left, Rachel and I cleaned up while discussing the evening. The vulnerability people had shown, the genuine apologies, the sense that maybe, healing was possible. Do you think they'll maintain it? Rachel asked. Or will they slip back into old patterns? Some of them will maintain it. Some won't. But at least now I know I gave them a fair chance. Whatever happens next is on them. Owen's voice called from his bedroom. Dad? Can you come here? I found him sitting up in bed, clutching his stuffed elephant. What's up, buddy? I like having family around, he said. It felt good tonight. Like we're not alone anymore. We were never alone. We have each other, and we have Rachel. That's family too. I know. But it's nice having more people who love us. Grandma looked at me the way you and Rachel do. Like I'm important. I sat on the edge of his bed. You are important. To so many people. Tonight proved that. Do you think she'll keep coming around? I think she's going to try very hard to be the grandma you deserve. Good. He yawned. Dad? I'm glad you're my dad. Even if other people thought you were too young or whatever. I'm glad it's you. I kissed his forehead, my throat tight with emotion. I'm glad it's you too, Owen. Every single day. He fell asleep quickly, secure in the knowledge that he was loved. And I realized that was the victory. Not the apologies, not the acknowledgements, not the family dinner. The victory was Owen feeling safe and valued, never doubting his place in the world. Rachel found me still sitting there 10 minutes later, watching Owen sleep. You okay? She whispered. Yeah. I think I finally am. She took my hand, and we walked back to our room together. The months following that Christmas brought gradual healing. My mother called every week, asking about Owen's school and hobbies, never pushing for more access than I was comfortable giving. She sent thoughtful gifts for minor occasions, remembered important dates, showed up when invited. My father continued his steady presence, becoming Owen's favorite person to call when he learned something new or needed help with a project. Derek and I remained cordial but distant. We exchanged polite messages on birthdays. We didn't rebuild what was broken, but we also didn't maintain active hostility. Sometimes relationships simply become neutral, and that's okay. The extended family slowly learned that actions have consequences. Some adjusted their behavior and rebuilt connections. Others remained defensive and stayed estranged. The family group chat died completely, replaced by smaller, more intentional conversations between people who genuinely cared about each other. Owen thrived. He made the honor roll. He joined the science club. He started taking piano lessons. He grew into a confident, compassionate kid who knew without question that he was wanted and loved. And Rachel remained the steady force holding everything together. She never once said, "I told you so," about the family dysfunction she'd documented. She never held the past over anyone's head. She simply maintained the boundaries she'd set and welcomed people who proved they deserved access to our family. One evening, almost a year after everything happened, we were sitting on the porch while Owen played in the yard. Rachel leaned against my shoulder. "Do you regret how everything went down?" she asked. "The confrontation, the boundaries, all of it?" "No. For the first time in my life, I'm not performing for approval. I'm not trying to prove I'm worthy of basic respect. I'm just living, with people who value me naturally. That's worth the cost." "Even losing relationships?" "I didn't lose relationships. I stopped maintaining one-sided connections that were draining me. The people who mattered found their way back." She kissed my temple. "I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us." Owen ran over, grass-stained and grinning, already launching into a story about the butterfly he'd seen. This was the life I'd built, imperfect, hard-won, but genuinely happy. No amount of family approval could have been worth sacrificing this. The following spring brought unexpected developments. My mother asked if she could take Owen to the zoo, just the two of them. Rachel and I discussed it carefully before agreeing. "Call me if you need anything," I told Owen as my mother arrived to pick him up. "I will, Dad. But I think it'll be good. Grandma's been really nice lately." They returned 4 hours later, both animated with stories about the penguins and the new tiger exhibit. My mother looked younger somehow, lighter. "Thank you for trusting me with him," she said. "It means more than you know." Over the following weeks, she proved herself repeatedly. She showed up for Owen's piano recital. She attended his science fair and genuinely engaged with his volcano project. She never once made a dismissive comment or comparison to other grandchildren. My father pulled me aside one Sunday. "Your mother's in individual therapy now, separate from our couple's counseling. She's dealing with some deep issues about control and perfectionism. The therapist helped her understand that her treatment of you was never really about you, it was about her own fear of judgment from others. That doesn't excuse what she did. No, it doesn't. But it explains it. And she's working to change the patterns. I'm seeing a different person emerge, someone who existed before life made her hard and critical. I wanted to be cynical, to protect myself from disappointment. But watching my mother with Owen, seeing her genuine delight in his accomplishments, made it difficult to maintain that armor. Uncle Ron became an unexpected ally. He started a tradition of taking Owen fishing once a month, teaching him patience and appreciation for quiet moments. During one of these trips, Owen came home with a question. Uncle Ron told me he used to have a problem with gambling. He said you helped him get better. What does that mean? I chose my words carefully. Sometimes people struggle with habits that hurt them. Uncle Ron had a habit that was causing problems in his life, and I helped him find people who could teach him healthier ways to cope. He did the hard work of changing, but I helped him take the first steps. Like how you help me when I'm struggling with math? Exactly like that. You're good at helping people, Dad. The simplicity of his observation struck me. I'd spent so many years helping family members while they diminished me, never quite connecting those two realities. Owen saw it clearly. Helping was part of who I was, and that wasn't a weakness to be exploited. It was a strength to be valued. Sarah invited us to her daughter's birthday party, a small gathering that felt genuinely warm. Her husband approached me during the celebration. Sarah told me what happened last year. I wish I'd known sooner, I would have said something in that group chat. But I'm glad you stood your ground. You taught a lot of people an important lesson about accountability. I just protected my family. That's exactly what you should have done. And it forced everyone else to look at their own behavior. My parents were part of the pile-on too, and Sarah made them face what they'd done. Some people changed. Others doubled down on being defensive. But at least now everyone knows where they stand. Derek's business ultimately failed. I heard about it through family channels. He'd filed for bankruptcy and was working for someone else now. Part of me felt vindicated. A larger part just felt sad for the relationship we could have had if he'd chosen differently. Amanda continued her therapy journey. She sent occasional updates, not seeking absolution but sharing her progress. I'm learning that cruelty isn't strength and kindness isn't weakness. I spent my whole life with those backwards. I'm sorry you had to be hurt for me to figure it out. I appreciated her consistency. She never asked for more than I was willing to give, never pushed for closeness I wasn't ready to offer. She simply kept working on herself and occasionally let me know how it was going. Owen's 9th birthday arrived with a party at our house. My mother and father came early to help set up. Uncle Ron brought his famous chocolate cake. Sarah and her family attended. Amanda came alone. She and Derek were separated now, working through their own issues in counseling. Watching everyone interact, seeing the genuine affection and respect, I realized something profound. This smaller family circle was healthier than the larger one had ever been. Quality over quantity. Depth over breadth. Rachel found me in the kitchen while everyone sang happy birthday to Owen. Look at his face, she whispered. Owen was beaming, surrounded by people who genuinely loved him. No performance, no conditions, no hidden judgment. Just pure celebration of who he was. We did this, I said. You did this. I just helped enforce the boundaries. We're a team. You documented everything, you posted the truth, you protected us when I was too hurt to protect myself. This family we have now exists because you refused to let me settle for less than we deserved. She squeezed my hand. Best decision I ever made was marrying into this chaos. Even with all the drama? Especially with the drama. It proved you're someone who stands up for what matters. That's the kind of person I want raising our kids with me. Kids? Plural? She smiled. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. My heart jumped. Rachel. I'm pregnant. 8 weeks. I wanted to wait until after Owen's birthday to tell you, make sure this day stayed about him. I pulled her into the hallway, away from the party noise. We're having a baby? We're having a baby. Joy flooded through me, followed immediately by a flash of old fear. The judgments I'd endured, the mockery, the years of being treated like a cautionary tale. Rachel saw it on my face. Hey. Look at me. This is different. We're married, stable, ready. And even if we weren't all those things, even if this was unexpected or complicated, it would still be a blessing. You know that now, right? You know Owen was never a mistake, and this baby won't be either? I know. You're worried about your family's reaction. Yeah. Then let's tell them right now. Let's see who's really changed and who's still performing. We returned to the living room. Owen was opening presents, tearing through wrapping paper with gleeful abandon. When he finished, Rachel cleared her throat. We have one more announcement. Owen, you're going to be a big brother. Owen's eyes went wide. Really? Really? He launched himself at Rachel, hugging her tightly. This is the best birthday ever. My mother burst into tears, happy ones this time. She hugged me, whispering, congratulations, sweetheart. You're going to be an amazing father to this baby too. No qualifications. No concerns. Just joy. My father shook my hand, then pulled me into a hug. I'm so happy for you both. Uncle Ron raised his glass of punch. To new beginnings and growing families. Everyone cheered. The moment felt complete, whole in a way the old family gatherings never had. Later that night, after everyone left and Owen was asleep, I sat with Rachel on the couch. They surprised me, I admitted. Everyone was genuinely happy. No sideways comments, no concerns about whether we were ready. Because they've learned. The ones who stayed, who did the work, they've actually changed. Your mother especially. Did you see her face when we announced? Pure joy. That's growth. Real, significant growth. She's not the same person who liked that post. Do you think she would have changed without the confrontation? No. People don't change when they're comfortable. They change when the cost of staying the same becomes too high. Your mother had to choose between her pride and her family. She chose family. I pulled Rachel closer. I'm scared about doing this again. Being a father, I mean. With Owen, I had no choice, he existed, and I had to step up. But this time it's a choice. What if I'm not good enough? Marcus. You're an incredible father. You raised a kind, intelligent, confident child essentially on your own for 6 years. You've given him a stable, loving home. You've protected him from toxicity while teaching him about boundaries and self-respect. You're more than good enough. Owen turned out great, but maybe that's despite me, not because of me. Stop. You don't get to diminish your accomplishments anymore. That's old thinking from old voices. You're a great father. You're going to be a great father to this baby too. And this time, you won't be alone. You'll have me as a full partner from day one. She was right. Everything was different now. Better foundation, stronger support, healthier relationships. This baby would be born into a family that had been tested and refined, stripped down to only the people who genuinely mattered. Owen appeared in the doorway, rubbing his eyes. Can't sleep. Too excited about being a big brother. Come here, buddy. He climbed between us on the couch, settling into the warmth of our family unit. Dad? Will you love the new baby as much as you love me? I'll love the baby differently, but just as much. My heart doesn't divide, it multiplies. There's always enough love for everyone who matters. Good. Because I'm going to need help teaching the baby about dinosaurs. Rachel laughed. The baby will be very lucky to have you as a big brother. Owen yawned, his eyes drifting closed. This was the best birthday. Even better than the one with the bounce house. As he fell asleep between us, I understood what I'd truly gained through all the confrontation and boundary setting. Not just healthier family relationships, but something more fundamental, peace. The constant anxiety about whether I was good enough, whether I measured up, whether my choices were valid had finally quieted. I was good enough. My choices were valid. My family was beautiful. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally are the ones who place the most conditions on that love. Standing up for yourself and your child isn't selfish or dramatic, it's necessary. Real family isn't determined by blood alone but by respect, support, and the willingness to grow. The courage to walk away from toxicity, even when it wears a familiar face, creates space for healthier relationships to flourish. In the end, the best revenge isn't public exposure or withheld forgiveness, it's building a life so full of genuine love and peace that the opinions of those who doubted you become irrelevant. Protect your peace, prioritize those who prioritize you, and never apologize for demanding the respect you deserve.